one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
From Louisville Public Media, we get this story here. Hayden Kilborn, Kentucky State Police Trooper, not on patrol these days. That's because Kilborn, 26, is under indictment for felony assault and misdemeanor terroristic threatening after he allegedly tased, beat, and threatened to kill a man during an arrest in Carroll County on July 28th of last year. He has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Now, Kentucky State Police Commissioner Philip Burnett wanted to fire Kilborn just days after the incident, but Kilborn took the rare step of requesting a hearing before a state police trial board. The trial board, a panel of troopers appointed by the commissioner, decided instead to suspend Kilborn for 6 months without pay. Now Kilborn is back to work in the State Police Technical Services Division in Frankfort, installing equipment in troopers' cruisers or managing records while getting paid more than $67,000 a year as he awaits trial. Kilborn, who was hired as a state police cadet in August 2020, did not respond to several requests for comment on this report. No trial date has been set, and the next hearing in his case is scheduled for January 27th of this coming year. If convicted on the assault charge, he can face up to 10 years in prison. He's not the only Kentucky State Police trooper to face criminal charges in recent years. Robert Moster III was charged with child abuse after he allegedly kicked an 8-year-old in August. His case was dismissed. Daniel Forbes faces felony theft and abuse of public trust charges after he was indicted earlier this year for allegedly stealing $17,000 worth of ammunition while working on Governor Andy Beshear's security detail. Jeremy Elliott, Derek Lovett, and Michael Howell were indicted in federal court in 2022 for civil rights violations. Elliott was sentenced to 6 months in prison. Lovett and Howell were acquitted. How beautiful. And Thomas Sartorsky pleaded guilty to perjury after he lied under oath about beating a woman with a flashlight in 2020. Now, Kilborn was also cited by a Somerset police officer in December of 2020. 4 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone in Pulaski County. According to the traffic citation, Kilborn told the officer that he was running late to a doctor's appointment. The case was dismissed last March. Robert Anthony Kidd, the man Kilborn allegedly tased, beat, and threatened to kill in Carroll County last year, has filed a federal lawsuit against Kilborn and Jake Knoll, another trooper who was at the scene. The July 1st, 2024 status report by both sides in the lawsuit said Kilborn had been offered a plea agreement to resolve his state criminal charges and that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Kentucky also had indicted an intent to pursue federal charges for the same incident. Kilborn's lawyers requested a plea agreement offer that would jointly resolve both the state and federal interest in this matter, and were awaiting a response, according to the report. A spokesperson for the state attorney general's office, which is prosecuting the criminal charges against Kilborn, said the office could not discuss the case. So, how did the events unfold? Well, according to more than 30 interviews and a review of hundreds of pages of court documents by the Kentucky Center for Investigative Reporting, on that morning, July 2023, a 20-year-old Robert Kidd was driving a stolen Buick SUV with Kilborn and other law enforcement officials giving chase through several counties at speeds sometimes exceeding 100 miles per hour. The vehicle pursuit finally ended near Carrollton when police used a spike strip to deflate the tires on Kidd's car, the car he was driving. Kid then fled through a wooded area. What happened when Kilborn and Knoll caught up with him is a matter of significant dispute. Kidd admits in his federal lawsuit that he ran from the two troopers. But while he was attempting to escape, the lawsuit states Kilborn made multiple threats toward Kidd, including threatening to kill him and telling him that he was effed. After Kidd stopped and raised his hands to surrender, Kilborn shot Kidd in the back with a taser, according to the lawsuit. And when Kidd fell to the ground, his lawsuit claims Kilborn struck him 8 times with his baton and again threatened to kill him. Kidd suffered a broken front tooth, lacerations, contusions, and swelling on his head, face, arms, and body, received approximately 6 or 7 stitches to his upper lip, and suffered and continues to suffer severe emotional trauma and mental anguish, according to the lawsuit. Now, Knoll did nothing to intervene, according to Kidd's lawsuit. Instead, Knoll stood by with his taser drawn on Kidd and provided cover for Kilborn while Kilborn beat Kidd with his baton, the lawsuit states. Kilborn's version of events contained in his response to Kidd's lawsuit is that he used just enough force to subdue Kidd and take him into custody. Kilborn admitted that he used a taser and baton strikes, but only when Kidd fled from police and actively resisted lawful arrest. Once Kidd complied with troopers' commands to place his hands behind his back and was handcuffed, Kilborn said in his response to the lawsuit, he stopped all use of force. Kilborn said Kidd's own actions caused his injuries. The arrest was recorded on state police body cameras, but the footage has not yet been made a matter of public record. Citing the pending criminal investigation against Kilborn, the state police denied a request by Kentucky CIR for a copy of the footage. Following the traffic stop and his arrest, Kidd was charged with multiple offenses, including fleeing from police, criminal mischief, 3 counts of wanton endangerment, and receiving stolen property, the car. Last June this year, he pleaded guilty to those 6 charges and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. He was released from custody in September and is currently under supervision in Oldham County, according to the state police. He could not be reached for comment. I'm just looking here. And then, of course, in September, this Kilborn was indicted by a Carroll County grand jury. It goes on from here, it goes down a little further, but I'm going to stop right there. I gave you pretty much the meat of it. This kid, it sounds like he did bring that on himself. I mean, he was fleeing from the cops in the car, runs into the woods to flee from the cops, and I believe he probably did fight the cops when they tried to arrest him. So I don't know. This is a tough one. I need to see the body camera footage, which they're not releasing because it's an ongoing investigation. You know they'd release it in a heartbeat, though, if it was in their favor. They always do, and it's in their favor they release the body camera footage. But because this Kilborn's been indicted, they're like, oh, no, nope, we're not releasing it. Don't release the footage. Doesn't look good, you know. I mean, that's just my humble opinion, but of course, it's just an opinion. But that opinion is made on what we've seen. When it's in their favor, they release the body camera footage almost within weeks. But when it's not in their favor, they go, well, it's on a pending investigation. Well, it was a pending investigation when you released it last time, but it was in your favor. But the big question is, and I'm done here, this Kilborn's been indicted. He's awaiting trial, and he's back on the job making $67,000 a year of your taxpayer dollars, working for the very agency that wanted to fire him before the indictment. It's good to be the king. I mean, a law enforcement officer. You can do anything you want.